Welcome to the heart and soul of Outdoors Radio. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show. In our 11th season, we continue to share facts and give advice on the great outdoors, where we never let the lack of facts come between us and a good story. Guys who are dedicated to helping you become a better outdoorsman. Your host, Gary McCoy, who's no stranger to the radio world or the outdoors, with a CMA to his credit for best personality. A well-accomplished outdoorsman who loves the thrill of taking a big buck or putting a bass in the live well. Mike Eccles, born and raised in Louisiana, who's fished and hunted his entire life and continues to chase ducks in the backwaters and pull bass off cypress trees. And the Boss Tournament Trail Director who runs the best team circuit in Louisiana. Steve Graff, raised in the woods and waterways of East Texas, a former Northwestern State two-sport athlete and tournament angler who continues to strive for big bass and winning stringers. And last but not least, Jay Watley, the brains and producer of the show who pushes all the right buttons, a man with unmatched talent who excels in making these guys look good and this show sound great. Now let's jump off the front deck and make the first cast with the boys who know it all, Gary, Steve, Mike, and Jay.
Well, actually, we don't know it all, but we're married to the people that do.
Exactly.
Amen?
Amen.
Can I get an amen up in here?
Amen.
Come on, Jay-Bird.
Yeah, I think we should start every show with that line.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
We are hooking up and tracking down 1130 The Tiger, brought to you by Lake Fork guide Johnny Geis, Despino Jim South Tire, and Paul's Farm and Garden. For all your gardening needs, from fertilizer to plant food, go see the guys at Paul's Farm and Garden. You know, it's hard to believe. It's almost that time, dude. You know, it won't be long. I mean, here, 2 or 3 months, you'll be thinking about is dove season and getting ready for deer season.
Food plots ready.
I've talked to two deer farms that as much rain as we had for 12 months, completely lost their spring food plots, clovers.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The drought.
Burn up.
What did we do, like 3 weeks, 21 days without a rain? That's what maybe 22.
Yeah.
I think we went 22 days without a significant rain.
We hadn't done that in Natchitoches. Natchitoches, we have had showers, evening showers come through in the last 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I'm talking quarter-inch rainfalls.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the one time of year when they say isolated showers, they mean isolated showers because it can rain a half inch or an inch and quarter of a mile away, never rain or drop.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's happened a whole bunch. Hey, listen, we got a heck of a show this afternoon. In fact, we're going to talk to not one, but 2 champions today.
Yep.
We had 2 big championships here in town last week. We had the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship on the Red River. Hunter Freeman of University of Louisiana Monroe, one of the team members of that winning team.
Thomas Swallow was the other member.
He's going to be on the show with us.
Yep.
And our own Nick LeBrun from Bossier City, by God, Louisiana, is going to be on, and he is the new All-American, going to be fishing in the Forest Wood Cup.
Yep, going to be fishing.
Isn't that awesome?
And fishing tour next year.
That's. I just found out the other day that that was part of the package. Was they get free entry into the whole tour for the following season.
And I think they, if I'm not mistaken, and Nick will tell us, I think they get a truck and a wrap boat.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Now Nick's coming in.
Yeah, Nick.
We're going to talk to Hunter on
hour
the phone.
2.
Okay, that's going to happen. Let's see. Hunter's going to be on here at 11:15, and then Nick LeBrun going to be in the studio with us here at noon. So be listening for that for sure. Maybe we'll all get a little bit of highlights as to what's going on with Cross Lake right now. Just amazing what he was able to pull off on 3 days, and on top of 49 of the best anglers in the country competing for 3 days on the lake, there was a cash splash out there on Thursday night. And there was no slouches fishing that either.
No, there were a lot of guys showed up and said, well, this is going to be horrible. Lake's beat up, blah, blah, blah. They still went out there and they caught fish.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to hurt the All-American the next morning.
Not at all. Not at all. Because Randy Deaver, that was the day that he pulled ahead in the second day of competition. And I want to say he had a big sack that day. 24, 25 pounds that day?
Day 2, you had 25.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that those fish had at least seen something from somebody the night before.
Yeah. You know,
with the cash splash going on, or at least the day before.
Exactly.
Also on the show today, Outdoor Destinations. Mark Weaver is going to take us on a smallmouth trip up north. How far north?
They went to Lake Mille Lacs.
Number one ranked lake in the country.
Is that Minnesota?
Mm-hmm. The number one lake in the country.
It's up there above Texarkana somewhere.
Yeah.
That's real north.
North of the Mason-Dixon line for sure.
Hey, that's going to be on the show. We'll talk to Mark at 12:30. Also, David Crescent is joining us today. He is the director of the CCA, and he'll give us a little insight into the Floating Islands project that is going on right now. And we'll also find out what's the status on the Louisiana waterway access issue.
And
that's our United Rentals question of the day today.
And we had a star tournament winner. He's going to talk about
right
cool.
Off
the bat. Yep, now
we've got some brand new boss champions. Congratulations to, I guess there's two different champions.
Actually, there is. We had 84 teams qualified for the championship. 75 of them actually signed up and went to Toledo Bend and fished, and it was divided into two categories on how you finish for the year. First place, the winners were going to win a Ranger Z5 518 with a Mercury motor of 150, valued at about $35,000.
Oh.
And the second category won the aluminum Ranger with a 75 Mercury on it, valued at I think $24,000, something like that. And a 2-day event. Congratulations to Seth Carson and Cole Garrett from down around Goldana. They came in with a 2-day total of 44.43 to win the $35,000 Ranger boat. Second place from the same, well, just down the road from them, John Wayne Kennedy and Trey Morgan. They had a 2-day total of 35. That's about a 9-pound difference between first and second.
Yeah.
35.53. They won $2,000. Jeremy Botica and Ricky Lee made a charge the last day. Had 12 pounds first day and 19 the next. They had a total of 31.46. They won $1,000. I'm trying to read this off there. James Blythe and Mike Leopard were fifth. They had a total.
They were fourth.
They had a total of 30.92, and they won $900. We actually paid in the regular money down through 11th place, and then we had bonus bucks that we gave away, and I'm gonna get to that in just a second. The second category where we fished for the let me see if I can get this up and running. The RT 178, which is a real nice aluminum Ranger with a 75 Mercury, valued at $22,000. Our buddies from J&J Pest Control, Jeremy Farah, Randy Farah, father and son team, they had a 2-day total of 28.86 to win first place. Boyd Wolf and his brother Dennis Wolf led it the first day. They came in with a total. I mean, they were like, just like a tenth of a pound, behind for second place. And they won $2,000, I believe. It's not on there. Bo Hanley and Todd Branton were third. They had 26.01. And then Alan Mosley and Chris Floyd were fourth. Nick Cannon, Caleb Crawford, that's a high school gentleman we've had on the TV, on the radio before. They were the fifth place. We paid down through the regular money on that down through ninth place. That's when our bonus bucks kicked in, and we should have paid total of about 30 places bonus bucks. But Larry Brazell and the folks and Cody Brazell at Bayou Outdoors decided to throw in some more money, and actually everybody that fished the tournament, even the people that fished the first day, didn't catch anything and went home, got a check. 100% of the people in the tournament got a check.
I hope you won't mind if I brag for a second.
Oh no! Where's the drum roll?
No, this is good stuff. Mike, I'm going to tell you right now. You and I have been friends for many, many, many years, and I've fished a lot of tournaments that you've put on, and they're always first rate. That was the most efficient, best, well-run weigh-in I have ever been part of in all the tournaments that I have ever fished. Everybody was cohesive. Everything went smoothly. There was never a long line. It was a great location, obviously, to do that. It was shaded under the big canopy, the
Yeah,
gazebo
big
they had
pavilion,
there,
yeah.
the pavilion, everything. I mean, just an incredible, well-run tournament. And kudos to you and Larry Brazell, the whole gang. It was an awesome, awesome weekend.
Well, I appreciate it. It was Cypress. That's the first one weigh-in that I've been part of the BASS that's been down there. That's the first weigh-in that I've held at Cypress Bend. And great people. We had one little snafu. They opened the gates in the morning by computer. Guess what? The first morning, the gates didn't open at 4:30 when they were supposed to.
Uh-oh.
That is the only glitch that we had in 2 days. Cypress Bend is a tremendous facility.
Yes.
And we had a good time. The pavilion right by the water. Of course, Bass Life sent their trailer down there. We hauled most of the fish in the trailer back up to the Pendleton Bridge area where they could be released at a ramp right by the deep, deep water.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We had just a few dead fish, which you're going to have this time of the year, and I don't, I don't. I wished it wasn't that way, but it is.
It's summertime.
And hats off to the fishermen that did a great job of taking care of their fish. It was just right on the water. We had a good breeze, shade, just first class facility.
The facilities there make it easy to have a weigh in there.
They did.
The way it's
You're
set
right.
up.
Right,
I've run
absolutely.
2 tournaments out of there, and it's just so easy to run a tournament out of there.
And they've got this great golf course down there beside the hotel.
Right.
And they told me, so there's deer everywhere. So if you're the first truck or something going into the hotel or something in the morning before daylight, said you'll almost have to just stop and let the deer cross around that golf course and stuff. So Sunday morning I got up at 4:00.
Just to go see deer?
Yeah, and I drove from there around to the ramp, and then I turned around. It was still dark when I went back to the hotel, and I totaled up everything I saw going time, and the total came to 0.
You never saw a deer? Wow.
Might have been too early.
But
Those are city deer. They don't get up early.
well, I'm going to be real honest when I say, that tournament was without a shadow of a doubt one of the highlights of all of my fishing, just because of how well it was done. And,
Normally I figure it up 35, 22, that's 57, 20, somewhere close to about $75,000 given away.
Wow.
Oh, unbelievable.
Billy
Billy Phipps just texted. He said, "Amen, Mike never gets enough praise.
Well,
You catch all the hell, but never get enough
Billy
praise."
and his family, but my birthday was Sunday, and Billy and his family brought a birthday cake to the weigh-in.
That's Billy Phipps.
And that's right.
That's Billy Phipps.
And I can tell you what, the cake was delicious. I had hurt my knee. I tore my meniscus in my left knee, and I was limping around like I was 90 years old instead of 65. And Billy broke out a bottle of horse liniment, and it's a miracle.
That stuff works.
It does.
He had to tell you to quit drinking it, though. You're supposed to rub it on
What?
your knee. Yeah.
Oh!
Did you have a garlic taste in your mouth?
That's why you've been regular
Oh,
ever since.
he didn't say right. He said, "Here, take some of this."
Hey, sit tight. We're going to speak with the FLW Collegiate Champion of University of Louisiana Monroe, Hunter Freeman, holding up that trophy from the Red River this past weekend. That is next. Hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, the Tiger. Okay, June 29th. That's a Friday. That's a Friday. Okay, I'll make it a point. I'll get over there, or at least send some money. My wife. It's the only time she'll go to Arcadia with me. Yes, sir. Yeah. Y'all got those little T-shirts that says "A Southern Woman Says." That's what a lot of guys still call him, as coach. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah. I don't. Okay, I'll mention it here. Mike, let me mention the spotlight sponsor, and then you do the CCA program.
The Hook It Up and Track and Down show is proud to be associated with our fine sponsors, Toledo Town and Tackle, Daiwa Samurai Braid, J&J Exterminating, and V&M Baits, making baits that do one thing, put fish in your live well. Now back to the guys who love to throw V&M Baits, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Hey, it's Gary McCoy, along with the Ranger Daiwa Pro staffer. He is Steve Graff, the old mud hen, Mike Eccles in the house. And I want to mention our Facebook page, something always on there to keep you coming back. And this week's Facebook Spotlight sponsor is the Daiwa Rods and Reels. And if you get an opportunity, jump on there, take a look at the entire selection, see what all they've got. Some really great stuff, whether you're a freshwater fisherman or a saltwater fisherman.
There's also a thing on there about an interview about Nick LeBrun and his dad, remembering his dad. Very touching.
Oh, wow.
Very touching. Yep. You want to watch that. It's really good.
You know, we are so proud to have sponsors, the sponsors we've got, but one of them especially is CCA, which stands for Coastal Conservation Association. Used to be GCCA.
Yes.
Just the
Gulf
Gulf
Yeah,
Coast.
yeah.
And now they've encompassed the Atlantic coast and the Pacific coast, so they are coastal, period, everything. And CCA is known for things like protecting our coastal frontage and our waterways all across Louisiana and all the other states that border saltwater. CCA is leading the way in coastal restoration with things like the Floating Island Project, and that is a very we'll probably get into that sometime, talking about the floating islands. They sponsor tournaments like the CCA Star Tournament, which they had a winner at just this weekend. We're going to he's probably going to mention that when we have David Cretano. And then Riding the Bull, which is another one of their tournaments. They fight the fight for waterway access, a deal where people are trying to post waterways where the general public has a right to be in. Go to ccalouisiana.com to learn more and to become a member of CCA today.
On the phone, FLW Collegiate Champion Hunter Freeman of the University of Louisiana Monroe. Is it sunk in yet, Hunter? I mean, you guys were the best in the whole country.
It really hasn't soaked in yet, man. I guess it was so close to the house, but I don't know. It still just feels like it was another tournament that really hasn't soaked in.
Yeah.
I look at the trophy every night in my room, and I guess it did happen.
Did you sleep with it the first night? Tell the truth. First night you got it. Did you hold it all night long while you cuddle up with it, spoon with the trophy?
I actually didn't, because we got done with the weigh-in, and by the time we got done with all the interviews and everything else, it's 6 o'clock, and we went and ate at the boardwalk, and then we had to go take the tour of those boats we were going to use the next day. And by this time, man, we were so exhausted, and they wanted us to be at the boatyard at 4 o'clock the next morning. So my dad just took them up to his hotel room, and we pretty much went to sleep.
Yeah. Well, Hunter, I want to say this. One thing I'd like to talk to FLW about, because I just don't think it's right. Number one, you had to fish against probably your best friend to see who gets to go to the FLW Cup. If it's a team deal, they ought to reward what's one more place for the FLW Cup than for them to just give both of you guys a spot in that event. Why have these two guys compete against each other when they shouldn't have to do that? But anyway, that's just how I feel about it. But Thomas and you both, I'm sure, have been fishing together for quite a while. And I'm looking down the list here. I see Northwestern State was the only other local school really in the top 20, top 30 And I'm pretty sure that's probably a little rivalry with you guys. I know as a former Demon myself, and ULM was a big rivalry for us. So how did that work out? Do y'all look at each other differently or compete against each other?
Are you talking about Northwestern? Or
yeah.
Northwestern?
Yeah.
No. I mean, we're buddies with all of them. We don't really, I guess in fishing, I guess everybody's a rival. It's not really like a team deal, like you have to prep to play them because you're playing against everybody in a fishing tournament. So,
right.
We definitely don't like getting beat by the local schools, but, I mean, in fishing, anybody can beat anybody, and it's just, we're all buddies at the end of it.
Hunter, the biggest question that I have is, what is ULM doing that has made it such a powerhouse in the country? Because you guys, for the last 5-6 years, ULM is a perennial powerhouse when it comes to fishing. What's going on there? Is it because we got a better crop of fishermen? Is there more time on the water? What's going on at ULM that makes that college so good on a national scale?
I think it's really and truly just how versatile and how tough our lakes are around here locally. I mean, with Louisiana weather, it's constantly changing. And I've said it over and over. Some of the toughest fishing in the country seems to be right here in North Louisiana. Just for one, the competition, and then just the constantly changing weather. It gets so hot. I guess you just over the time growing up, you train yourself to catch those tougher fish, and when you go off out of town, it definitely pays off.
Hey, Hunter, Mike Eccles here, and first I want to congratulate you on y'all's accomplishment, and I want to thank you for taking the time today. Walk us through the 3 days, 4 days?
Is
3-day
event.
Walk us through the 3 days. What you did the first day, your baits, and then the second day, what you did, if you had to change, and then the final day. Start with the first day.
The first day, we blasted off. We didn't fish any in pool 5. We ran straight to the lock. We tied up, locked through. I really didn't know how to go about the tournament because, like I said, I didn't get on the break bite until because we got a full day of practice, the second full day of practice, and then the third day we had to be out the water at 10 o'clock. So it really wasn't much time at all. But I spent the whole first day trying to do what I did in pre-practice. At the end of the first day, we got onto that just seemed we need to back up and fish those breaks. So by the time the second day rolled around, I'm scrambling, trying to put as many places together as I can. But like I said, I only had a day to play with it, so I really didn't know, was it a fluke? Was it just that was something that was happening that day? It's never going to happen again. And then, so the first day of the tournament, I really didn't know how to treat it. We actually stopped on a riprap stretch. It wasn't a jetty, it was up inside a lake. And just went down it that morning and flipped. And we caught 2 little small keepers because everybody kept telling me how tough it was. And so we left from there, and then we ran to one of our first, offshore places. It wasn't really offshore; it was just further out. And I think we caught 2 right there that were 2.5, 2 3/4. And I was like, man, it's a pretty good fish, And then we went just straight down to our next place, and I caught another one, probably 2.5 or so, and Thomas caught a 3-pounder. So I'm sitting there, I was like, man, we can get rid of those 2 little rats. We got a really good bag. And so we left from there and then went to our main place in Sullivan's. And when we got on those fish in Sullivan's, it happened so fast in practice. I mean, I think once we finally got the cast down, 3 casts went in. We got bit all 3 casts, caught 2 fish. But it seemed like they were all over 3 pounds. And we pulled up there in the tournament. I actually caught a Kentucky, the first cast. And I was like, what is this? And then threw it back in the water. And then Thomas caught a 3-pounder on that same cast, and as soon as my Carolina rig, the first pool, I caught one about 3. So that was the end of the first day. It's 10:15. We were headed back, and
what was the key bait that first day?
It was just a Carolina rig with a baby brush hole.
Okay.
Just throwing it way out and dragging it. Thomas actually just throwing a Texas rig. He was throwing a couple different things on a Texas rig. He was dragging a big Senko and then throwing a brush hole around some. And
well, rumor had it, Hunter, y'all were going all the way to Natchitoches from Pool 3. Did y'all ever do that?
Oh, yeah.
That was the rumor.
I kind of steered the media. Yeah. After the first day, I didn't know how many people, because there was nobody doing that. And I didn't know how many people had kind of seen it, and all that. So I knew, that article was going to be all over the internet that night. And I thought, we didn't say we're going to 3. That way everybody will, it'll kind of steer attention away.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got done doing the interview, the camera guy's like, "Y'all really going to 3?" I was like, "Oh no, absolutely not." He's like, "Oh, thank God."
He didn't want to drive down there, did he? Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I hate to say this, but Hunter, you've just proved that all fishermen lie. And I mean, we start them young. I mean, we can't get a true story out of nobody.
I got a blog this week about lying on how fishermen lie.
Okay. Well, go ahead, get your second day there, Hunter.
But so the second day, it seemed, I was the other thing, in practice it seemed like every fish that we caught had crawfish pinchers sticking out of their crushers, and I couldn't get bit on a crankbait or a spinnerbait or nothing. And in pre-practice it was the exact opposite. You couldn't get hardly bit on a jig or, just anything that was flipping, nothing like that. It was all related to shad. So the second day we're back down there. We actually didn't stop on the insurance place first, that riprap. We just drove straight down to the jungle. Went in the jungle and went to work. I pulled up that morning and I was dragging, and haven't caught a fish on a crankbait all week. And I picked my crankbait up. It was just a Black Label Balsa, Cliff Face Ricochet. The big one, though, I think it's just I don't know what they call the big one. They got like a mini, a junior, and I guess a standard. But, threw it across. It was just a little shallow point and had a little pile of rocks on the end of it. And we were just sitting off the break and throwing across and pulling it back. Now, that crankbait hit them rocks and the rod loaded up. And, I'm fully expecting it to be a goose. Pulling way too hard to be a bass. If it's a bass, it's a big one. But, pretty much expecting it to be a goose, not getting my hooks up. Comes up, I see the black stripe. It's a 5-pounder. I was like, oh, my God, get the net. So we net that one. And then from there, it seemed like that day it was all centered more around shad. We left from there, went down to our other place where we caught them really well the first day. Didn't get bit. We pulled up in Sullivan, and it happened really quick. And again, but they weren't as big. They were all just around 2 pounds. And at one point, I seen some big gizzard shad start jumping. First time I seen it all week. And there was 2 different fish chasing those gizzards. That one of them was probably over 5, and the other one was a heavy 4, just chasing them. And I couldn't get them to bite. Well, I actually threw that crankbait at them. It was the only thing I had tied on. I didn't have nothing tied on to fish, schooling fish. And they were up inside stumps, and I hung that crankbait up. But when I went up there and tried to get it, it was a $30 crankbait. I guess that I dusted it out on top, but we never got bit there again. We ended up going back down to the jungle at the evening of that second day, and Thomas caught one close to 3, which gave us, I think we had 12-4. But so we went from the first day being done at 10 o'clock to having to fish all the way to almost 1, to make it back to 5 in time the second day.
And then day 3 was your biggest bag of the tournament, 15-13.
Right.
And
right. I had one place I was saving. There was a lake in Pool 4. It was a really clear lake. In pre-practice when I went over, it was actually the first place I went into, just because, not that it was anything special, just when I was, on Google Earth, I put pins on my phone, and, I need to check out here. This looks good. Just looking at it from an aerial view. And when the first day I ever went down there, that was the first place I went into. And I got in there and I was like, whoa, this is some clear water. I figured the whole rest of the river would be like that. It very quickly learned that wasn't the case. But in there in pre-practice, it seemed like every fish we caught, it just looked different, and they seemed to be a lot thicker and a lot healthier, and there was just so many brim inside that lake that it was, I still don't know why there's so many brim in there, but in pre-practice, I caught one almost 6 in there fishing. And it was actually the second Red River fish I'd ever caught in my life. And it was like 10 minutes into the day, and I took a picture of it and sent it to some people, and they're like, yeah, you better enjoy it. That just doesn't happen out there very much anymore. I was like, yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah.
But but there was one boat ramp in there that it seemed to, I guess it was a lot of brim sitting on it in the middle of the day. The only reason I know it is, or I'm assuming it, because if you threw something up there, a jig, even if you threw a brush hog, just something that had like a little ribbon in the tail, the brim would destroy it. I mean, you couldn't pull it twice without bringing it back and it'd be missing something, or just annihilate it. So, at one point on day 3, we went down to the south end of Pool 4. We blanked on the first spot. There was actually a local tip where I wanted to start at, so we didn't start there. Went to the next spot, blanked. I went down to the place where we caught them on day 1, didn't catch them on day 2, and I caught one that was like a little over 2 pounds and one that barely kept. Then we go into Sullivan's, and Sullivan's that day, it just did not happen at all. I mean, it was just a ghost town. We didn't see any shad move. I mean, we kept them honest. I probably sat in there longer than I should have, but finally I looked at Thomas and I told the camera guy, "This not happening, dude. We gotta go." So we go back down to the jungle, and I didn't get bitten there again. I did end up, just fishing on the fly. I was fishing this one offshore place. There's literally one little point of reeds right over there. The wind was hitting it just right. Pick up a spinnerbait, go over to it, catch one a little over 2 pounds. It actually came off in the air when I was boat flipping, but it landed in the boat, so I guess that's good. And then, I looked at Thomas and I was like, I don't know if I should go back in Sullivan's or go to that boat ramp or up in that lake and just fish up in there. And he's like, man, I don't know, whatever you want to do, whatever you think. So I looked at the cameraman. I hope he got it in the show because I pointed at it and I said, I'm either about to win it or I'm about to lose it. I said, but sit down, let's go. And we pulled it up, made the run. We got inside there. I pulled straight up to the boat ramp. I think it was my third cast, what the article says. The guy said he was counting, but, I set the hook. Well, I was pulling that jig back. It was just a green pumpkin, football jig. But I had it cut real low with a short raised straw. I was really just trying to match the brim, more than a crawfish. And, I pulled over a rock, felt my line go slack, took it, yanked straight down. I set the hook, rod bows over. In my head, I was like, don't be a catfish, and we'll be all right. It comes straight up. As soon as I think the water was so clear, it comes up. I think it was about a 5-pounder. Thomas nets it, so, we're all pumped up, but still, that's only fish number 4. And, I don't know what everybody else has got, but I can't look at the blog or nothing. So we end up keep fishing the boat ramp. Thomas catches one that it ends up keeping, but it's number 5. And there's a seawall straight down from there. That's where I caught the 6-pounder at in pre-practice. And I go down there and make that same cast with that same jig that I did in pre-practice. And I was explaining to the camera guy how it went down pre-practice. I was telling him, I was like, man, I was hot. It was just miserable out here, and I just made kind of a lazy, just loose cast up there, and I was just trying to kind of pull it back when I was working my way down this lay down. And I made that same cast, and I guess it's a magic cast to happen twice. But about to say, as soon as it fell off that break coming down to deeper water, I felt it thump, line take off, set the hook in. It was the second 5-pounder.
Wow.
So,
you guys, you know what? I got to tell you, Hunter, I mean, you guys pulled off a miracle, and a lot of people would have thought that, that you had the hometown advantage, but because you'd only caught your second fish in practice on Red River, it really wasn't. And I want you to know how proud we are of you and Thomas and representing North Louisiana so good. And I hope that you'll remember us when you're rich and famous and fishing FLW or BASS one of these days.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff got to happen.
For sure. Well, Hunter, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us, brother, and congratulations again.
Thank you. All
right. Y'all have a good one. We are hooking up and tracking down, and we're going to visit with David Crisant of the CCA. That's next. Kiss Country. That's the other radio station.
Yeah.
Hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do it. I'm going to disagree with you. You get to a point where you kind of lose. He was really nervous. He's told this story so many times that, and he really walked us through it. I felt like I was in the boat with him. and I believe every one of our listeners feels like they just went through 3 days of fishing too.
I never heard somebody go that long, though.
No.
I never heard that.
No.
He did stop. Golly, I told the cameraman. Man.
And it must have been brim or something there, and I had that jig cut real short. And holy shit! He just did you hear him say that? He just said that. I'm calling his freak. K2 cooler. What is the date?
Hey, before we go,
What is the date?
hey guys, don't want me to go long here and just make the next segment shorter, or do you want me to go?
Yeah,
about
go.
a 45?
Yeah, just a couple of minutes. Just a couple of minutes.
Hey, you got to check out our website for news and info that's sure to make you a better outdoorsman. It's HUTDshow.com. This segment presented by Nichols Department Stores, Groove Fishing, Toledo Fiberglass, and K2 Coolers. Great coolers at an affordable price made here in Louisiana. Once again, here's Steve, Gary, and Mike.
K2 Coolers. If you haven't looked at coolers lately, you definitely need to take a look at K2 Coolers. Made in Louisiana, K2 Coolers is the last cooler you'll ever have to buy. Premium ice chest that won't break the bank. Available in sizes 30 up to 120 quart, with wheels or without. Also, check out their great line of apparel and accessories. A Louisiana-made product. Go to k2coolers.com to learn more.
The director of the CCA, David Cresson. Say that, though. Do you have a French way that you say that, David?
Bueno.
You're doing a pretty good job with it. We just say Cresson, but
Cresson.
You're using the proper French.
Cresson.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Well, and I mean, that's one of those things. Because we're north of Ellick, we're Yankees.
Yeah.
You get south of Ellick, and I don't. You guys don't even really speak French.
We might as well be in Arkansas.
Amen.
I'm telling you.
Bunch of damn
Yeah,
Yankees.
I just speak straight English, so however you say it is fine with me.
Well, David, apparently you guys are in the midst of a project right now.
But before we get to that project, remember, David, what you said you was going to talk about first?
Yeah. We had an exciting couple of weeks. Of course, thanks for having me as always, guys. Great to be with you. And Memorial Day weekend, we had our Star Tournament start, and we've talked about it before. We put 100 tag redfish all over the coast, and if you're a registered angler and you catch one, then you win a truck or one of 10 boats that we give away. Well, we've had 5 of the fish caught already.
Wow.
4 in the first weekend, 3 by unregistered anglers, 1 by a registered angler who's going to win the truck. And then last weekend we had a really cool story of a second winner who 5 years ago had caught a tag redfish. It's a longtime CCA member, longtime star registrant, but had forgotten to register earlier that year, and caught the tag redfish, knew immediately what she had done, and put the fish back. So, it was kind of a missed opportunity for her, Miss Kindler. And well, this year, her husband was out fishing in the same area that she had caught the fish 5 years ago. This time they had remembered to register, and he, doggone it, caught a tagged redfish. He's going to win him a brand new Nautic Star boat. So, and he's going to name the boat Redemption, which I think is awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Name it to what?
Redemption. Yeah, buddy.
That's pretty
I
cool.
love that.
Yeah, really cool. And on top of that, he gets a bonus. He's a subscriber to one of our sponsors, Louisiana Sportsman Magazine, and since he's a subscriber, he gets an extra $10,000. So really, just a great event, a great weekend for the Kindlers. Great stuff for CCA. We put these fish where people are going to catch them. We've had, like I said, 5 caught already in just more than about 10 days. And if last year's any indication, we'll have at least double that many caught. But you got to be registered to win. So don't do like those 4 that haven't won this year, and get yourself registered. So it's join CCAStar.com. You go to CCAStar.com, just click the Louisiana button, and you'll be off and running in the Star Tournament.
CCAStar.com. Too easy. What's it cost to register?
$35 to register in the tournament if you're a member of CCA already. If you're not a member of CCA, then the membership's $35. The Star Tournament's $35. Kids fish it free. So we make it real easy. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you're going to fish in saltwater anytime between now and Labor Day, go get your Star ticket, get registered. You could end up winning a brand new boat, or win one of the other $500,000 prizes that we give out for a number of different divisions. So, CCAstar.com, super simple. Takes about a minute to register, and you'll be eligible for all sorts of good stuff.
$35 to win, $35,000 to lose.
Amen. Yeah. It's up to you.
That is correct. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, David, if you will, the CCA right now is coordinating an effort that you guys call the Floating Islands Project. What exactly is that?
Yeah, this is a cool project. We've done 4 of these now, and we coordinated this with our friends from Shell and Entergy and some local schools down south of Lafayette, Sycamore Point area. What we did was we went out and built about 1,000 new linear feet of marsh near Sycamore Point. We used these synthetic mats. They're about 8 feet wide by about 20 feet long. They're made out of recycled drinking bottles, water bottles. And they're about 8-10 inches thick. We plant native plants in these synthetic mats and then anchor them to the seafloor near the marsh. And what happens is these plants grow through the synthetic mats and anchor themselves into the seafloor, creating an even stronger bond and creating a more hardy marsh. So we had about 150 kids out there with us about 2 weeks ago. And a bunch of corporate volunteers, a bunch of CCA members, and we built this 1,000 new linear feet of marsh. And it really, really a cool project. Part of what CCA does is new habitat building across the coast. We've done about $9 million worth in the last several years through our Building Conservation Trust, which is our national habitat program. And this was really a cool deal. It was local kids. We had 4th and 5th graders from Catholic High in New Iberia. We had high school kids from AMI Kids School. And just a great, great day. We built a bunch of new marsh, and those kids really felt proud about what they did that day.
David, while y'all are building this marsh, just a thought here. Could you possibly use some salvinia? Because I bet I know where you could get some.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, well, we hadn't tried the salvinia yet. We'll probably avoid that one. But
we'll bag it and ship it to you.
Yeah, we use mangrove. We use paspalum. We use a few other native plants to the area, and it's amazing how these things grow in this synthetic mat, sort of protected from the elements as they're as opposed to the natural marsh. And once they root into the ground, they just take off. So. It's a really cool project, something we hope to see other organizations, state government, pick up on and do more of. And we're gonna keep on doing this around the state. We got another new reef coming to Big Lake in a few weeks. We got other projects scheduled for later this year. So our habitat program is really prolific these days.
David, does this artificial reef, this mat, how does it hold up to a hurricane or storm compared to Mother Nature?
Yeah, how they anchored?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've learned a little bit over the years doing these projects. We've had to re-engineer the anchoring system a little bit to be a little more sturdy against storm weather. And the most recent one we did in Grand Isle before the Sycamore Point project, we did have some issues with that open water application and some weather. So we redid the anchoring system, and so far the ones in Grand Isle have held up since then, and we've got our fingers crossed that these ones at Sycamore Point will do the same. It's a really secure system. They're drilled into the sea floor with a 6-foot drill, and then there's metal cables that hold them in place. So it's a complex system. It's very sturdy, and we're going to keep working on it till we have exactly the right combination. But this one seems to be pretty good right now.
CCA Director David Crisson, our United Rentals question of the day today. What's the status on the Louisiana waterway issue?
Yeah, well, another great question. Of course, the session, they're going to a third special session at the legislature, it looks like. So the session The second special session ended Monday night with less progress than I think most of the legislature would have liked to have seen. But the bill that Representative Kevin Pearson, HB 391, had filed here did fail on the House floor. But as we said throughout the process, the idea was good. The bill itself had some issues that they just couldn't get by. So what did end up happening is a resolution was passed by Senator Brett Allen and Representative Ray Garofalo and others to create a waterway access task force. I'm proud to say CCA will have a seat on that task force with other organizations, legislators, scientists, etc. I think with the special session popping up again, it may delay the first meeting of that task force. But as I understand it, there will be appointments made to the task force for weeks, and then they're going to get to work. So we're proud to have a seat on it. We're looking forward to helping create solutions to this certainly big problem, and that's what's going to happen next.
Ultimately, I'm assuming that what you would like to see is that those who do own property, their rights are protected, but those of us who want access to public waters, we're gonna not be prohibited from fishing those waters.
That is the ultimate goal here, I think, for everybody involved. I think what I've found through this process is that much more on the same page, everybody, than you would be led to believe. Landowners want to see solutions to this problem. Obviously, fishermen do. Industry does as well. Everybody wants to keep people off of public waterways, but there are issues that go along with it, whether it be liability, mineral rights, leasing arrangements with other forms of commerce. All of those need to be worked on. So in a perfect world, I think you take care of the liability issue, you work out the ownership disputes, you find a way to where the owners aren't exposed for a lot of problems by having the public have access to those waters. That's what we're going to work towards, and CCA is going to be right there helping find solutions.
Okay, David, if somebody's wanting to fish the Star Tournament, $35 plus your $35 CCA membership, get all that information at ccastar.com.
Yeah, ccastar.com. The tournament, there's still 90. We put out a couple extra redfish every year, so we calculated there's 97 redfish still swimming around that could be caught. We actually put out 102 this year just to be safe. So there's 97 of them that have boats. The next 9 will come with a boat. So ccastar.com, go get registered. $70 if you're not a member, $35 if you are. Kids are free, and it's a lot of fun, a great way to enjoy your time on the water this summer.
And if somebody's wanting to read more about the Floating Islands Project or what's going on, the status-wise with the Louisiana Waterway Access issue, what's the CCA's regular website?
Yeah, ccalouisiana.com. Real easy. You can read all about all those issues and others that we were involved with during the session and other habitat projects we've got going on. It's there's tons of issues that we deal with, and we're glad to fight for anglers and fight for better fish management through all these issues. And you can read about it at ccalouisiana.com.
Thank you, brother. David Cresson, director of the CCA.
Yep, the man.
Great being with you guys.
Hey, thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Here in a minute, some local kids have done it again. Local elementary school has won the archery national title.
Yep.
And there is a probable new record largemouth on Tawakoni. For the lake or for the state?
Lake.
Okay. A new
lake.
Does Johnny Geist know who caught it?
I don't know. We'll have to ask. Well, we don't have Johnny on today. Got Johnny on next week.
We'll visit those issues up next. Hook it up and track it down, 11:30. The Tiger.
I'll keep on dreaming.
have a place on the river that you could go every time and catch a fish? Could you go every day and catch a fish? Really? I've never had a spot. Now, there are certain times of the year, you know, when there is a spot, but I've never had a spot anywhere that I could go every time and catch even a fish. I cannot catch a fish off a tree that's been hit by lightning. I had a tree that was like that, but the current went during the flood took the tree out, and I can't even catch a fish on the trees even anywhere close to it. It was only on
Make sure you check out our Facebook page. It's Hook It Up and Track It Down Show on Facebook. We have awesome information and great product giveaways. This segment presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, Toledo Bend guide Daryl Gleason, United Rentals, and Steve Nichols, Specialty Traco, moving earth and building roads to a better future.
Hey, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, we got a little something for you. United Rentals offers on-site services, repairs for customer-owned equipment, their own service mobile technician, Dino. Dino will actually come to your location.
No, you can't beat that.
No,
A built-in mechanic.
You're broke down.
Yeah.
You're losing money
your
by the
power
minute.
washer ain't working.
Right. Dino comes to you.
Yeah.
You don't have to load it back on the trailer. You don't have to. Dino comes there, take care of everything for you. They are a forklift and man lift certification dealer. That's United Rentals of Shreveport, 635-6404. 635-6404. If you got any questions, just talk to David Duschel or any of the guys there. And I'm telling you right now, whether you're a do-it-yourselfer, you're a contractor, you're a small outfit, a big outfit, United Rentals will take care of you. Yep. The job starts here. United Rentals. Go check them out.
Before we get to our elementary national championship, renew your hunting or fishing license this month.
Oh, yeah, June 30th. And this coming weekend is free fishing in Louisiana.
Exactly
now, listen,
right.
I did overhear a conversation, and this is something you need to know. If you're headed to Toledo Bend, or maybe you're going to be on Caddo Lake
this
for the
Louisiana
weekend.
thing?
This is only in Louisiana. This is National Safe Boating Week.
Right.
But it's a free fishing only in Louisiana. So if you are in Texas.
If you launch in Texas.
If you are in Texas, doesn't matter where you launched.
Oh,
if
really?
you are in Texas,
whether cross the Texas line of Caddo or Toledo Bend,
you better have.
It has nothing to do with you launch.
You better have a Texas fishing license. Now, in all likelihood, you will renew your Louisiana license and you're good to go. Now, anytime that you're on Caddo, but you get above the 43 bridge, you have got to have a Texas fishing license. But just because it's a free fishing weekend this weekend doesn't mean you can get away with not having that. And all you got to do is be over the middle of the river on Toledo Bend, and you're in Texas.
And you can get confused on Caddo if you don't know where the line is.
Exactly.
So, but anyway.
So just know that.
Also, a probable lake record on Lake Tawakoni, pending certification of scales, which, Mike, I think you're doing something like that today, getting your scales certified.
I'm pretty certified.
Is that a lengthy process?
20, 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
First set of scales. Yeah.
Okay.
There may be a new largemouth bass record at Lake Tawakoni. Warren Sprague of Willis Point, Texas, whose brother is FLW pro Jeff Sprague, landed a 14-pounder on an 8-inch Sooner Run color worm.
Wow.
So, anyway, congratulations to that dude. So, but anyway.
I thought we were going to do this
we got
archery stuff.
Yeah. Gary, you think you got the archery?
Oh, I do?
Yeah. I'm giving it to you
This
anyway.
is such a well-run show. I'm telling you right now.
While he's looking it up.
You had no idea.
Turn the page.
While he's looking it up, one of the most recognized anglers and good human beings in our part of the state.
Best people I know.
Willard Moore, who's been around for ever fished the BASS Classic at one time, is really having some health issues, battling cancer, and they are going to do a fundraiser for his family, for Willard and his family, June the 29th, and they're going to be selling either gumbo or jambalaya. It's a plate deal. at Smith Marine in Bossier. Drive up and get them. Get $10 a plate. All proceeds going to the Moore family, Willard, Jamie, Andrew, the girls. And so keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that every week, remind you to go by and support.
Date again?
June 29th.
June 29th.
And you said that was a Friday.
That's a Friday at Smith Marine.
Yep. And
so I'm assuming lunchtime-ish?
I don't know. I probably got it, but it's too. Don't worry about it yet.
Okay.
If you buy it now, it'll be cold.
Steve doesn't actually know. We actually visited with Brett Thomas the week after all of this happened. So we're re-congratulating Kingston Elementary School in Benton. Captured the elementary national championship in the National Archery in Schools program. That was back May 10th and 12th in Louisville. Third time that a Louisiana school has won a national title. Of course, Benton Middle School won the first one in 2016, taking the middle school national championship. Benton Elementary won last year's championship over 179 other schools. And I want to say that Benton Elementary also won the world at one point. Kingston took home this year's championship over 171 other elementary schools. So congratulations to Kingston Elementary. And, of course, that program just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Bossier Parish School is doing a really good job. And I do want to Bubba Hadaway had said that all they're looking for to try to get things, because we mentioned then that, we couldn't understand why they didn't have something like this at North DeSoto. Bubba says, I got sponsors. I got people that will donate. I got this. They're just needing a coach at North DeSoto Elementary. So if somebody wants to volunteer for archery, that would be a great place to actually get that program started.
And Steve, I think it was Steve Raff said something the other day, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about that and talking about the Benton kids being so good.
Yeah.
And you said, why are they so good? I made the comment that the Benton kids shot so well because they were brought up holding a gun in one hand and a spotlight in the other. Somebody said something to one of y'all, I don't remember which one it was, about what a jerk, what a smart aleck Lamar. Whoever that was offended, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, get over it. It was just a joke.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Somebody told me that. Somebody they took offense to me saying that.
Oh.
Just trying to be funny.
People are so sensitive.
They are,
Telling you, man.
Is Nick LeBrun sensitive? Is he in touch with his feminine side? No. He thumbs down on that.
I don't know. Let's see what kind of socks he's wearing.
Yeah, it's the face, the facial hair.
He got.
Yeah. God love him.
He's hiding behind it.
I see that. That's the camouflage. That's why he can catch all these fish.
Look at Jay. Jay, same way.
Yeah. You know what? You guys could be brothers.
That is
Hey, we need a picture of the two of them together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. Do you have glasses, Nick? No glasses. Sunshades.
I'll
That's
just
it.
take mine off.
Just take yours off. Y'all can wear sunshades.
And we'll swap hats.
Hey, and Nick LeBrun's going to tell us how he did it on Cross Lake.
Yeah.
National championship.
GPS coordinates and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Just
that still won't
keep
help
hoping.
you.
We are hooking up, tracking down 11:30. The Tiger. Come sit down, bro. You too. Congratulations. Well, have you ever had, because Brad just told me that, he had one issue with one guy. Have you ever had an issue with your co-angler? What's the best way? What's the protocol on handling that?
Well, you kind of got to let them know up front. The first thing they do is to count. You don't go make more. Funny story, the Red River meeting that I qualified for the field for, I think it was day 3, and Jack Cobanger was my brother on day 3.
Oh my God! Same guy? What are the odds?
go. One more hour of the greatest outdoor show on the radio. You're listening to the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. This segment presented by Stingray Line Cutter, Despino and Jim's Big South Tire, and the Red River Waterway Commission, dedicated to recreational and commercial expansion along the Red River system.
Hey, I'm Gary McCoy, along with the Ranger Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, the old mud hen Mike Eccles in the house with us. Has it sunk in? Hey, we got to get a microphone going. Okay.
Yeah, it's finally starting to sink in today.
Nick LeBrun, 2018 FLW All-American Champion. And I heard a rumor. Nick, I heard a rumor that the only reason why you won this was because of this app called ExactCast. Is any truth to that?
Yeah, it definitely didn't hurt anything.
It didn't have anything to do with the fishing ability or being able to stay up with all of it. You know, all you had to do was just follow your app, and you were good to go.
Yeah, ExactCast is certainly not a magic wand, but if you've kind of got everything else to go with it, it can definitely kind of help you plan an event to a T.
Amen.
Nick, winning on Cross Lake, it's your home body of water. You're from here. You understand it.
Would you call Cross your home body of water?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so. Okay.
But you're local. You fished it 100 times. A lot of times being local like that can be a curse because you know too much. So your game plan, you and Randy's both game plan, obviously going in, was great game plans. Did you ever question yourself, like when you caught the 16-pound bag on day 2, feel like, oh, man, did I do something wrong?
No, the only little change I had to make was after I saw how high the weights were on day 1, I had a ton of stuff on the main lake that I kind of abandoned because I knew that, hey, that stuff was to catch kind of conservative 2 to 3 pound fish. And I think, well, hey, that's going to get you sent to the house. So I had, 50% of my stuff that I kind of just never even went to because I knew you had to be catching those 4-pounders to be in the running. So that was the only game plan that I kind of had to make a change of.
Were you shocked at the weights on day 1?
Absolutely.
I was too. I couldn't believe it.
Randy Deaver and I both thought 45 would get it done for 3 days.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. And we were way
over
off.
45 at the end of the second day.
Yeah, that's crazy. Randy was at 46, and man, that was just I still don't know where we fished at. It could have been Cross.
Yeah.
What would you say if you had to do it all over again and you only got to take 3 rods out there? What's tied on each one of those 3 rods?
6 cents movement bait, the 80X. It's a wake bait, dives about 2 foot. V&M half-ounce pacemaker flipping jig, and probably a spro frog. Those are the only 3 things I weighed in fish on.
Wow.
3 days.
Was there a good early bite?
No. I wasn't getting bid until about 8:30.
Oh, really?
And so a lot of people were upset over the 7 o'clock takeoff, but I said, hey, we can take off at 10 if it's up to me.
Yeah.
Let's fish till dark.
Yeah, no doubt. So it was definitely a mid-morning afternoon thing. On day 1, I had 23 pounds at 10:30 and kind of just laid down, and I still caught a 5-pounder that moved me up. And then at 12:30, I just kind of tried to cater my co-angler as much as I could. Just kind of took the rest of the day off.
Wow.
Hey, Nick, why don't you tell the listeners how what brought you to this point? The All-American this last weekend for 3 days on Cross Lake, but you just didn't go out there and fill out an entry form.
That's right.
It took a while. What were the steps, and what did it take to qualify to be there?
So last year in 2017, I fished all the BFL Cowboy Division events. And I
donated to him in all those events. I'll go ahead and tell you.
And so I made the top 45 in points, and so that sent me to the 3-day regional that was in October on Red River. And in that tournament, you have the best anglers from all over the region, about 4 or 5 different states that come to the regional, and you have to finish in 6th place or higher. And I tied for 6th in that tournament.
Oh, wow.
After day 1, I had 1 pound and was in 100-something place. And then on day 2, I made a little move up to 10th and ended up in 6th. But I tied for 6th, but the tiebreaker was the largest stringer of the tournament, and I had that.
That second day had done it.
Yeah, and so I barely made it to Cross.
Wow.
But now you and Randy Devers and Randy Despino all made it off that river tournament.
That's correct.
And and we talked. There was no doubt in our mind, that one of y'all was going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
And I really thought that all 3 of you would finish
First, second, third.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Really did. The only thing that I thought stopped Randy Despino is Randy is a tremendous fisherman, a heck of a nice guy. He's a little more of a deep water guy, I believe, and I don't know that that's what cost him, but we really thought all three that y'all were going to finish first, second, third.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm a real humble guy, and I really don't like saying this, but I kind of knew in the bottom of my heart that it would be one of us two.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy Deaver especially, I mean, he put a ton of time in just like I did, and he's paid his dues over the years, so I knew he would be probably the toughest, scariest competitor in the field. And but all 48 anglers were just the top caliber of anglers, and I just so blessed to come out on top amongst that field.
And you could tell that by the weights that were brought in. Georgia seemed to be a state that kind of stood out to me a little bit. Several Georgia guys did well in this event.
Yeah, Georgia has some cover, has some cypress trees, and those guys, great anglers from that state.
Well, you know, this is kind of an odd question to ask the guy that won the whole blasted thing. Oh, by the way, you got $100,000 I can borrow?
No.
Oh, see, that's the way it works. But this is when you're there and you're in the midst of it, you're really more focused on what you're doing. But did you learn anything from maybe some of the approaches that some of the other guys took that maybe you've never even considered before?
No doubt. There definitely was a light line finesse drop shot bite going on. Some big weights for.
I mean, who would have ever dreamed of doing that on cross?
I guess a lot of guys from up north.
Wow.
Hey, that's the only place I've ever thrown a drop shot.
Really?
Cross Lake.
Huh.
So,
I mean, Tennessee was third, Missouri was fourth, and Georgia was fifth, sixth, and seventh, and ninth.
So what else did you see?
You know, the drop shot's not something that I would do because in my mind, I can't win doing that.
Yeah.
But really, the drop shot and the lighter line finesse stuff, that's the biggest thing that really stood out. As far as, like, what did I learn in general, I learned how key timing was because you could fish a duck blind, beat it to death, and not get bit and come back 2 hours later and catch a 5 and a 3 off of it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Timing was crucial.
What about the frog bite? Did you weigh your biggest fish on the frog?
No. The frog bite was my bailout on day 2.
Gotcha.
Just real quickly, day 2, I had 3 fish for about 8 pounds at 8:30, and then I went 4 hours without a bite on the movement bait. I kind of hit a little wall, so I ran to a little tree thicket island area where there was some bluegill spawn going on. I picked up the spro frog and caught number 4 and caught number 5, and kind of got me settled down, and that gave me a limit, and had about 15 pounds. Then I picked the movement bait back up and went back hunting again, and made one more good call at the end of the day.
Isn't it amazing how differently you fish when that limit's in the box?
Oh, ain't no doubt. It settles you down.
Yeah. Now there are times though, and I'm sure this is something that you kind of have to play out in your head. There are times when you think, well, I'll just go get a little limit, and then I'll try to upgrade. I'll cull through that later. But you think to yourself, man, you know, if those big fish are biting there and I'm not there when it's happening, how often did you second guess yourself on the clock and be in there when you go 4 hours without a bite?
Yeah, day 2 was definitely a mental test because I had 3 fish pretty early, and that's kind of a bonus. But then when you go 4 hours and you're making some really good casts and some really good deflections with that movement bait, and you haven't even had a sniff, you say to yourself, well, man, I can't win it unless I make it to day 3.
Right.
And so that frog was kind of a way to go ahead and kind of get some comfort in your system, no doubt.
Now, did you feel like, Nick, you know, the history with Cross Lake is if you're not stirring mud with your trolling motor, even in the heat of the summertime, you're probably too deep. Did you find that to be the case in this event as well? Shallow?
Absolutely. Most of that giant stringer on day 1 come out of 3 foot or less. And some of those fish, even on day 3, I could kind of see the bottom and see the cypress tree, and when that crankbait would roll by that tree, it was almost like part of the tree just mutated away from it and ate the bait. I'm like,
oh, really?
I can't believe there was a fish laying there, you know. It was crazy.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, some of those fish had fleas on them.
Wow.
That's what, you know, remember Roy Smith? Roy Smith used to say you had to throw between the tree and the bark.
Yeah.
Now, what about you and Randy? Y'all fished a lot of team stuff together.
Yeah, I mean,
you've
me and
been
Randy
friends
like
a long
brothers.
Exactly. Did you ever have a conflicting area on the lake where you both? That's my
question.
area.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely not. On day one, me, Randy Deaver, and Randy Despino started, a couple 100 yards all in the same area.
Oh, really?
But those guys are so top notch and respectable. We all kind of worked it out and knew, okay, that's Randy's little stretch, and I'm fishing this little group, and we all were definitely sharing water and sharing little key spots.
Right.
But it was a timing thing. Never once did we have a run-in or anything like that.
The Cross Lake doesn't fish big; it fishes small.
That's right.
What about the out-of-towners? Did they find those spots?
They did
as well.
They did. There was a few, and there was a few top 10 guys that were kind of on some juice that was really good. But on day two, when I had that lead, and I've got 3 media boats following me, and I had 2 anglers. One was Brian Treichman. I hope I'm saying that right. But he was one of the 2 that just really showed a high level of respect and trolled out of my area and said, "Hey, man,
wow,
I'm getting out of here." Kind of like.
Is that awesome or
yeah,
what?
I mean, fishing at this level, that's one thing I really enjoy is the respect of the other anglers, because you don't always get that in some tournaments.
Well, you can't just say it's at that level either, because we've seen a little bit different on the BASS trail as well. There's going to be conflict, and it's how you resolve that matters. And this guy, if he had been in second, do you think he would have conceded that water to you then?
No, absolutely not. I think he had 6 pounds on day one.
Yeah, 7 pounds even.
Yeah, so he kind of knew that he wasn't.
Hey, you got a shot at this. Go get him.
That's right,
Yeah.
and that meant the world to me. It's just having those anglers respect my lead and respect what I was trying to do in that area. So,
it was amazing to me to see, Randy at the end of day one. He's got 21.5 pounds. What was he, like 7th place or something?
Yeah.
It was like, this is Cross Lake just really showed out. And then on day two, I mean, I don't even know if you knew it, but they had the Cash Splash Thursday night. There was another 100 teams out there?
That was 70-something.
70-something teams that fished that same water Thursday. Did you realize that was going on?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And that worried me because I knew Friday would be the toughest day.
Yeah.
Because of the evening tournament, and we all caught such high weights during the day on Thursday, and then Randy Deaver goes out there and catches 25 pounds on the toughest day. I told my wife, I'm like, hey, he's got something figured out. I'm going to have 20 tomorrow to even have a chance.
Yeah.
And so I really expected Randy Deaver to have another 18 to 22.
Yeah.
And, but hey, I had a tough day on day 2, and his tough day was on day 3, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever lose a fish that you thought was going to hurt you?
Absolutely. I hate to be the guy that talks about the one that got away, but on day 2, I started on a duck blind, and I caught a heavy 3-pounder out of the boat slip. And that was a big win, good momentum builder. I moved around to one of the long sides of the blind, and made about 2 more pitches with that V&M flipping jig. And I picked up, and it felt like I was hung, but I knew I wasn't hung. And I jacked it, and the world started coming undone. It looked like you pulled the drain plug up to the lake under that blind. The co-angler's freaking out. Oh my gosh, that is a giant. I guess there was some fencing under the water.
Oh yeah.
And I had the fish just bowed up. There's a picture on it on the FLW site. I'm bowed up. The fish is just thrashing. I can't do anything with it, and after about 5 seconds, it cut my line.
Oh, no.
I don't, that'll probably be on the TV show. I don't know how big it was.
Yeah.
Ballpark guess. Was it 8?
6 plus.
6
Wow.
Wow.
Just by the way it was acting.
Wow.
And, that didn't bother me at that time because I'm like, hey, well, that's part of it. It's going to happen.
Right.
But at 12:30, when I hadn't had a bite in 4 hours,
that's the only thing you can think about.
Wish I had him in the boat.
It'd be pretty cool to have that one in here right now.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations, brother. With you fishing the FLW next year?
Well, right now it's in the rules for this season that the All-American champion can qualify for the tour, but the rules for 2019 are not out yet. So I'm still going to try to go ahead and qualify through the Costa. And right now I'm 8th place, and I'm 8th in points with one event left at Fort Gibson. So that's my main goal.
I know a guy that can help you at Fort Gibson.
Yeah,
that's right. That's my main goal is to qualify through the Costa.
Now, when we come back, we want to talk about your career. We want to talk where you're headed, what you want to do when we come back.
Right on.
Nick LeBrun is your current 2018 FLW All-American champion, and he's from right here in Bossier City, by God, Louisiana. We'll visit with him more next. Hooking up and tracking down 11:30, The Tiger. Hey, thank you for tuning in. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger. It's Gary McCoy along with the Ranger Daiwa Pro staffer Steve Graff, the old mud hen Mike Eccles. And one thing is clear about this show, clear as mud. This show would not be possible without our producer, Jay Watley.
Without question.
The button pushingest. See, take a look at him. Don't y'all look like each other?
It's a good-looking man.
See, Nick, I'm just telling you.
I like your style, man.
Yeah,
we are.
See,
look it up.
Thank you, Jay, for all that you do to make this a great program. Just think about this. I mean, here we got Nick LeBrun in the studio with us right now, and you made him feel at ease. Just walking through the door. I mean, he knew there was like a brotherhood.
That's it.
As he came in. I mean, this man just won.
Brotherhood of beards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
funny story. There's some guys up in Oklahoma that kind of talk like, man, that LeBrun kind of looks like a terrorist. But they say that until they hear me talk. Like, okay, he's not
he is when you get him on the water.
No, he's from Louisiana. I'm telling you. Hey, this segment is brought to you by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Rayburn Country Resort, Seagar Fishing Line, and Bayou Outdoor Supercenter, carrying the best in bass and ski boats, along with a great selection of campers and motorhomes. And we do have Nick LeBrun in the studio with us.
But we've also got some sponsors to talk about. With the All-American coming to Cross Lake, the Collegiate Championship coming to the river.
You cannot say collegiate, can you? You always say collegiate.
Bueno.
Collegiate.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Help him out, Nick.
Okay,
I'm not the one.
Collegiate.
Okay, all them college boys fishing in that big derby.
Yeah,
how's
big
that
derby.
sound?
The derby.
Yeah,
That's
that
how I
derby.
say it, Mike.
With all the
We're having a
stuff, with all
fishing
this,
derby.
all this fishing junk going on around here, and our lake's getting low, and being on Red River, somebody's going to wind up getting a bobo on their boat.
Yeah.
When you do, keep Toledo Fiberglass in mind. They have been in business for over 36 years. They are the fiberglass repair and restoration kings. They're home of the Gorilla Hull, which has a lifetime warranty of the hull, not just the boat.
Yep.
You can sell the boat, and you can get that warranty. It goes with it. They are Hummingbird and Minn Kota dealer. They've got a great selection down there, a huge room of electronics, located just west of Toledo Town on Highway 6 between T-Town and Pendleton Bridge. To learn more, go to ToledoFiberglass.com.
Nick LeBrun in the studio, 2018 FLW All-American champion. Just won that this past weekend on Cross Lake. And, I mean, it was neck and neck, dude. I mean, you guys made a drama out of this.
It was a great story.
Oh, wow. I mean, you got the best anglers from all over the country competing on Cross Lake. And I mean, you and Randy are back and forth, between day, and then on day 3, I mean, it was anybody's game.
And our local TV was a no-show, which I'll get to that later in the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard Patrick was there.
Patrick was there. Patrick did a great job.
You know what, Patrick Dennis? So our hats off to you.
Great job.
Our cigar hot topic on this.
Yeah.
With all the technical innovations that we've seen in the world of bass fishing over the last 10 years, I mean, you're even involved in that with your exact cast. There's so much that has come along with, whether it be the applications that are out there, graphing, mapping, those kinds of things. What do you think's next? Is it going to be better mapping, better artificial baits, better electronics? Will you be able to just fish remotely from the house with a joystick, and you're running the boat out around the lake? What's next?
I think the electronics and the graphs are going to get more and more sophisticated. And what I always tell younger anglers and them old college boys and high school kids is there's still a it factor. We can have all the technology and all these cool gadgets, but you still have to go out there and make the right decisions and have that it factor.
And find fish.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that a lot of the younger generation is going to get away from that.
Yeah.
I think when my boys grow up, they're going to be like, oh, Dad, that lure doesn't even have a computer chip in it.
Yeah.
What are you throwing that for,
There's no resistor in there, Dad.
Yeah, so I think it's important for us to know how to use the technology and embrace it, but you still got to get out there and go fishing too.
One of the hot things I think is up next is going to be actual cameras in the boat that you can see into a brush top. Is that white perch or is that bass? I think that's what's coming next.
Could be.
Cameras.
But you know what? I mean, that's really dependent upon water clarity, and that takes us out of the ball game. I mean, you can't see your hand at the bottom of your wrist in Red River.
But you know what some of the elite guys are already doing? They actually already have these in their boat, and they haven't really said a whole lot about it. They're kind of keeping it under their shirt, so to speak. They lower the camera into the water, into the brush top, and they're looking at it on the visual camera set up on the deck of their boat to see what's in those tops now.
It's still when you've got less than 12 inches of visibility, there could be 10 fish there and you never see one.
Amen.
Well, I'm just saying the camera will actually go to the top. It's not just something shooting from the top.
One of the things that you bring up there is with the electronics, because you have to understand GPS existed a long time before we ever got access to it. GPS was there.
Well, it's
the government.
Yeah.
What do you think the government's using right now that we won't get in 10 years?
It's mind blowing what they're doing. Technology is out there. Just when is it going to be released?
Right.
Is the question.
Right.
And you know what? I mean, you consider now the amount of time, the dollars that you can save in pre-fishing at your desk at home with Google Earth. Just drawing a few X's on the spot and saying, okay, that looks prime. You can run the calendar back and to the time when that lake was at its lowest or in a drought or something.
Yeah, we don't need to be talking about all that next segment. But no, you're exactly right. Google Maps and all that has really changed pre-fishing because you can really eliminate a lot of time by looking at a lake when the water was low and saying, well, hey, this is where all the grass is, or here's a hump, or
here's deep water.
Because Navionics is a great tool, and all this, the contour is great, but the satellite don't lie. That's the bottom line.
Well, and here's one of the latest things that's just come out with Fishing 13, or 13 Fishing Concept Z-Reel, which is 0 ball bearings. That's unheard of.
There's one of those. Have you seen that at Bayou Outdoors? David's got one there on the counter.
Yeah.
Is that sweet or what?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And Mike, you talked about this a little bit earlier, and you just alluded to it, the it factor. There are certain people that it doesn't matter how much time I'm one of those people. I'm only going to win or place in whatever amount of tournaments that my limited ability will let me do. I will never let you outwork me. Doesn't have anything to do with that. But there are guys that I have known in my life. My buddy Donnie Yakes, best friend that I had. Donnie was, I would venture, probably one of the best Caddo Lake fishermen that ever was. But he could take that same it and he could go to Toledo Bend or Bistineau or whatever. He had it. And you and Randy obviously have that it factor. Take the electronics off the boat. Give that person some rod and reels, and at some point they're going to run into those fish and figure out how to make them bite. What would you say to that person who doesn't have it? How would they compete against a guy who does have it?
I think it's you have to create it. It starts with your mental mindset. You know, if you don't think that you can win, you might as well not even launch your boat.
Right.
You know, that may sound kind of crazy, but you've got to believe and make decisions that put you in position to have a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you've got to be the guy that that doesn't let anybody outwork you. You kind of said a cool thing there, and but you just gotta put your time in and have the mental mindset and practice that, hey, how can I win? What's it going to take, and how do I get there? You know, I think it's I think fishing is 90% mental.
Oh,
really
no doubt. Now, Nick, you and I last year at ICAST, me, you, Kevin, you went to dinner 1 or 2 nights. I remember asking you one of the questions. I was curious to. Me and Kevin actually talked about it later. I asked you, what is your goal? And you said you want to fish professionally. You really want to take this as far as you can possibly do. This isn't something you just did for a weekend and say,
That's
I'm
right.
done. You want to make a career out of this, don't you?
Yes, that's right. And I've had that mindset before I qualified for this All-American, but to win this All-American definitely helps, and it definitely is a momentum builder. You know, this sport's all about momentum, and to go true professionally, I think you got to have the right momentum and obviously be ready mentally and financially. And I feel like I'm getting real close to that level. And my next step would be to luckily qualify for the tour, fish the tour for a year or two, and then transition to the Bassmaster Opens and Elite Series. The Elite Series is my ultimate goal. I may be 55 before I fish the elites, but that's my goal.
Well, I know my $250 every month has helped you get to this point, and I just want to say that's my donation to you.
Now, you know what? Because you brought up finances, then I have to ask you the ultimate question in closing. Does this $100,000 go into the Nick LeBrun fishing account?
Crap.
Or does it go into the family going on a Disney vacation account?
I'm going to rephrase because that's exactly what I was going to. How much of this is going to go in the fishing account, and how much is going to go to new granite countertops?
90% is going in the fishing account.
Hey, we win one.
And
you got a pair, buddy. You got a pair.
Yeah, and hey, Jolene will tell you the same thing. You know, we've been real blessed this year, and you know, this kind of a win is real special. Got to give a shout out to Covington Lumber Hardware and Building Materials in Center, Texas. They've been a partner of mine this year, and having them on board as a title sponsor has really kind of helped me fish to win and not really worry about that aspect of it.
That's something that if you can take the money quotient out of it, then you really can fish differently. The approach is completely different.
If you're worried about that aspect of it, you're not going to be focused on your next bite.
Congratulations again, 2018 FLW All-American champion Nick LeBrun. Boy, you guys, between you and Randy, it was an awesome. Do you know when they're going to air that?
I've been told it's early August.
Okay.
So, NBC Sports, early August. FLW Fishing. Search for that on your satellite. It should show up.
Okay, fantastic. Congratulations, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
That was an awesome deal. Hey, we are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Loving every day.
Want to hear what you missed on today's show? Tune in Saturday mornings at 6 a.m. here on 1130 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down. This segment presented by Bob Seeley's Big Bass Splash Series, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, Bass Cash Bash, and Natchitoches Ford, your truck headquarters for the Arklatex and home of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the F-150.
And Paul's Farm and Garden. Paul's back, by the way, guys. He's back on board. Your gardening supply headquarters, fertilizers, pesticides, plant food, anything you'll ever need to make your garden grow. Don't forget about your food plots, as they carry several different types of product that will keep your deer herd healthy all through the summer. Also a proud dealer of Purina products. That's Paul's Farm and Garden, North Market in Shreveport.
Yeah, all you got to do is go by there and get you some cottonseed meal. Put it out around the boathouse.
Oh, that's what I've done that before.
Okay. On the phone, we're going smallmouth fishing.
You know, this is our new segment, our outdoor destination that we're going to do. Try to do every week, and it's just we're going to feature people that leave the Arklatex and go someplace else hunting or fishing. And I can remember when fishing shows first got popular on TV, we would flip the channel when it was somebody up north. We didn't want to see walleye.
I don't want to watch Al Lindner. I'm sorry.
Pike and all that. That's exactly right.
I don't want to watch. But Nick LeBrun, do you watch Al Lindner?
No.
Okay.
I can't handle that.
Smallmouth fishing has gotten so popular because of the tournaments up there that a lot of people are doing it. And we've got a group of people here in Shreveport that have been going for years up north. It started with a guy named Ken Webb.
Oh, love Ken
And
Webb.
one of the guys down here, one of our anglers, Mark Weaver, just got back from Lake Mille Lacs up in someplace north. And has been going for years, and that's who we're going to talk about. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
Good, Mark.
Now, you were just a little north of Texarkana, is what Mike says.
Yeah, if you take that stretch and multiply it by about 20, you'll be getting in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So what part of the world is that?
Well, I was in Minnesota. Mill Locks Lake is in central Minnesota. Very large lake. I forget how many square miles the thing is, but it's just a great big bowl. And after the elites went up there, 3 years ago or so, word kind of got out on that lake. It's just got some beasts in it, just big old brown fish. And they're not like the fish here in the Arklatex where they can identify whether you're fishing with a cream product or a Zoom product. They're not that picky.
Well, Mark, how long have you been going north to go smallmouth fishing?
I believe my first year was 2008. My wife had been bugging me. She was watching fishing shows, and they kept showing these big brown bass. And she looked at me and she said, before I die, you better take me up there to catch some of those things. And so I promptly got a hold of Steve McKenzie, who I knew had been going. I think at that time he had been going for about 15 years. And we pulled our boat up, Steve pulled his up, and we hit Lake Erie out of Dunkirk, New York, and it was just everything we expected. It was awesome. These fish are not smart. They will just attack a drop shot or a tube in any form or fashion. We fished the Buffalo area, the Dunkirk, New York area, and we did that for 5 straight years. And finally decided, okay, I've seen Lake Erie. Let me check out some of these other places I've heard about. So the next trip we went to was to Lake St. Clair.
Great fishery.
It's another one of those big bowls, but it's full of those stupid fish, too. And we found a house to rent on the St. Clair River. Every morning, the ships would go by. It was just the most unusual thing you've ever seen. It's just a river, and I'm talking Gulf-type ships going down this river in the morning. So it's just a different experience. Like I say, we went to Erie the first 5 years. I've since been to St. Clair 3 times.
I've been to Sturgeon Bay on Lake Michigan on the Green Bay side once, and then the last 2 years I've gone to Mill Lock in Minnesota.
The Milwaukee trip, you know, for the average person that might be headed up that direction, what's it going to cost them? You know, by the time you've bought licenses and paid for gas and lodging and the whole, what can that trip be taken for?
It's not bad, from $1,000 to $1,200, and that's for me and my wife. I don't have somebody to split the expenses with. It's kind of a pool of money we have. So.
Well, we knew it wasn't expensive if you talked Don McCutcheon into going.
I know.
And if the old mud man was up there with you, he had already found every cheap place to eat that there was.
Yes, he had. And there weren't many, actually, in Dunkirk. It was hard to find a good place to eat. It was like Applebee's or a pizza.
What kind of numbers of fish are you catching a day?
Well, on a really good day, 50.
Wow.
Sometimes you'll exceed that. I mean, I'm not going to say you go out there and catch 100 fish in a day, but I know we've approached it before.
Mm.
On a bad day, probably 10 or a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
And going to Cross Lake, if you catch 10 or a dozen, you've had a pretty good day.
Well, you know, we got Nick LeBrun in the studio with us right now, and he'd probably argue that point with you.
I know he would. But he fishes a different Cross Lake than I do. I'll tell you that right now.
Now, you caught this trip you were talking about, you caught several 5-pounders or over 5 pounds, which I'm guessing a 5-pound smallmouth is about like catching an 8-pound largemouth.
That's about a pretty good comparison there. I look at a 6-pounder as being a 10-pound bass.
Wow. Yeah.
I haven't caught a 6-pounder yet, but I'm pushing it. I'm getting close. My largest has been 5 pounds, 11 ounces.
Now, do you take your own boat when you go?
Yes.
What kind of time is there, you know, from the time you leave Shreveport Bossier till you've pulled up at the lodge? How many days?
I look at driving 10 to 12 hours the first day, and then you finish it off the second day.
Mm-hmm. You don't have hemorrhoids, do you?
Well, it gets a little irritating.
Send us a picture. We'll put that on Facebook. Thank you, McCoy.
If you travel with Gary,
10 to 12 hours. If they're acting up on you, I'm promising you, that's like 3 lifetimes.
Gary's like a woman. He's got to stop every hour and take a leak.
2 ex-wives.
But now I will say this, Mark. Why did y'all choose Mille Lacs? Was it because it was the #1 ranked bass lake in the country behind Bassmaster Magazine? I mean, is that why you went there?
Interest.
Yeah, piqued your interest.
I got real interested in it.
Right.
And talking about the trip, choose your company wisely for that kind of trip. I've always gone with my wife.
I just got uninvited.
I brought my 9-year-old grandson, Jake, with me this year. I just decided that he was old enough, and he's a master with a spinning rod. So I knew he had the mechanics down. That long a trip and that many consecutive days of fishing.
Are we there yet?
But yeah,
is it
he
over?
Didn't really do that.
When are we going to get there?
Where's my Xbox?
We fished for 5 straight days, and I'm talking fishing, not going out for an hour or two and come. We would get out there in the morning and come back in the evening. This kid is a trooper, and he caught the first fish over 4 on this trip. He didn't catch a 5, but he had a 4-pound 8-ounce and a 4-pound 12-ounce. And those guys are beat on 6 or 8 pound test line and a spinning rod.
Wow.
I can only imagine.
Well, I think
it really impressed me that all this training I've given him on the pond and Cross Lake and such, that he took it and he lasted 5 days. He actually, when it was time to come in that final day, he was very upset that it was over. He's still 9 years old, so he's got the emotions of a 9-year-old. I looked at him and I told him, buddy, I feel exactly like you do.
You're ready to see Bossier City, Louisiana.
Well, Mark, just to kind of sum it up, so you're saying a group of people, you find a buddy to pair up with, somebody's got a great truck and a tow vehicle and a good boat.
Yeah.
You don't need a 22-foot boat to go up there, right?
No, I'm going to be real honest with you. You could pull a 17-foot bass tracker up there with a 50-horse on it.
Wow.
And you'd have to choose your places, but you'll catch just as many fish out of that. You don't have to have a 20-foot bass rig with a 200 on it. On the big water, it is not, but you're not limited to just big water. There's definitely places to fish, and you'll catch them.
Do you have to be proficient with a spinning rod?
It definitely helps.
And what's the biggest line? 2 pound, 4 pound?
No, I've started with 6, and I've moved to 8 fluorocarbon.
Wow.
It's clear enough. But the only application I'll use a bait caster is fishing a top water with 12-pound mono.
Mm-hmm.
And we caught fish on a whopper plopper this year. And let me tell you, when a 5+ smallmouth hits a whopper plopper, it will scare you.
Was it the big one or the little one?
It was the little one.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay, I got a question for you. Why in the world, you're not up there throwing under boat docks. Why do you feel like you have to throw a spinning rod just because you're throwing light line? I can fish.
I'm with you.
8-pound line on a casting reel as well as I can a spinning reel. But I'm not saying that's what it should be.
Yeah.
I'm asking
if
you.
you're throwing 1/8 ounce baits or less, you're not going to get that bait very far. I can fire that spinning rod with an 1/8 ounce, 40 yards.
So the mud bug bite isn't real big up there, is what you're saying?
The 1 ounce mud bug would probably catch fish.
Really?
I'm not going to say you can't catch fish on anything up there. When they move up, they're looking to eat, and so yeah, you can use bait casters, but gosh, 95 out of 100 fish I'm catching on spinning.
Okay, I'm gonna go up north. I'm gonna fish for smallmouth, but Mark Weaver's gonna tell me I can only take one bait. What's it gonna be?
Prior to this year, I would have said a drop shot with a green pumpkin 4 or 5 inch straight tail worm. This year, on our final day, we discovered that a 4 or 5 inch a pearl or shad looking thumping swim bait, they would attack it viciously.
And if I could only go 1 week out of the year, what week is it?
1 week out of the year, well, I'd be looking at any time from mid-May to mid-June to get that wave of spawners coming. I planned my trip based on the full moon. And 3 weeks before we went, there was ice on the lake. I was starting to get a little nervous.
Wow.
And we were about 3 days early when we got there. But all of a sudden, everything got right. And I'm talking a massive wave of fish moved up shallow, and it was on like a chicken bone.
Wow. Mark Weaver, thank you. I'm sold. We're making our next hooking up, tracking down fish to Mille Lacs. We're going to Minnesota.
All right.
Mosquitoes bad? Were the mosquitoes awful? I've heard that they're worse than they are here in Louisiana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your information is correct.
Yeah.
They're awful.
We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger. right, Nick. Be good, buddy.
The Hook It Up and Track and Down Show thanks you for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Nichols Department Stores, Sproul Lures, Kamigatsu Hooks, and the CCA of Louisiana, making sure our coast and waterways statewide are protected and preserved for years to come. One more time, here's Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and Steve Graff.
You know, okay, I know I'm supposed to do something.
Yeah. Happens every week at this time. I mean, every Wednesday at 12:45.
Well, I was so overwhelmed.
We give you
last
the damn
guest,
Daiwa Samurai
I forgot.
Braid.
I forgot I was supposed to do it. So now, here's your Daiwa Samurai Braid. Best times to fish this weekend is rated as poor on Friday, good on Saturday, and very good on Sunday. The moon will be on the decline from 50% down to 25% by Sunday night. High temperatures will hit the mid-90s, lows in the lower 70s. No rain expected this weekend. We need it. Best times are going to be early morning. Friday, 7:16 to 10:16 a.m. Sunrise will be 6:07, sunset 8:21. Saturday, 8:03. That's a big jump right there. 8:03 to 11:03 a.m. with sunrise 6:07, sunset 8:21. Sunday, be on the water, 8:52 to 11:52 a.m. Sunrise will be 6:07, sunset 8:21. This has been your Daiwa Samurai Braid. Best times to fish, and I can tell you the more I throw that, the more I honestly believe it's the best braided line on the market.
Everybody that I have ever told about that, that's exactly what I I'm telling you, it's the best braid you'll ever throw, and I truly mean that, and I'm glad to hear Mike echo the same thought.
There was apparently, the BASS Elite Series is headed for the Sabine River this week.
Yeah.
And there was apparently a forum, and I saw something about this on Facebook, and you could probably clear this up for me. But a lot of the elite anglers are not happy at all about being there. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, there's a lot of truth.
Why?
I've actually
is it because it's such a poor fishery, or is it because they can't go into Louisiana?
I'm sure they've narrowed the fishing grounds for them this year. Even before that, though, talking to Matt Herron and a couple other guys, I actually talked to Iconelli. It's just a place that there's just no fish. I mean, it's small. There's small fish. When you do, you have to go through 10 just to catch a 2-pounder. Finding quality is almost impossible, and that's what discourages them right off the bat is just the lack of quality fishing. But the turnout for that event may be their best turnout of the year with the Elite Series. People pack it's incredible.
And
show up.
You know what a lot of the anglers don't realize, and Mike has to go through this regularly. What a lot of people don't realize is the fishery itself is one of the last things you figure into the location.
Yeah, that's
first and foremost is, can we make money for this? Because this ain't a non-profit organization.
No.
Even on something the smaller level of what we're doing locally with the Boss and the Cash Splash stuff, you know, whether it's a great fisheries or not is not the most important thing, and the fishermen want it to be. They want the tournament centered around by how many fish, how big a fish they can catch, and that's just not it. And that's on a little level. We're not depending on crowd. We're not depending on spectators. We're not depending on gate fees and convention
and hotel
centers
accommodations.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you take what little bit of emphasis we put on the facility first and the fishing second, you just compound that 100 times when you take somebody like FLW or BASS going into it. And the fishermen, I think, get caught up. They've got kind of this movie star syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they think, what I want is the most important thing, when in reality, if the people don't come watch a movie, it doesn't make a flip how good you are.
Amen.
No.
Well, it's like a lot of guys would love to see Boss go to Black Bayou Austin. You just cannot put
many
boats in the water at the launches.
Yeah, 25 or 30 boats on Black Bayou at Halston is just about fills it up.
Sure.
And another great example of what we're talking about is when they held the Classic in the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you could catch 8 pounds a day, you had a shot to win the whole thing.
Sure.
And so the fishing was absolutely horrible, but the crowd turned out. And, of course, city of Pittsburgh put up the money to host the Classic, which we all know that's what it's about. Beaumont is putting up the money for them to come down there. So as long as Beaumont's doing that, they're going to go to Beaumont.
I wonder if, like David Cresson and the gang from CCA, if they are able to make inroads in the Louisiana Waterway Access.
We hope so.
Would that not benefit, BASS Elite that's fishing the Sabine River down in that part of the world, because that's the reason why they won't allow the fishermen into Louisiana.
Sure, it would benefit them, but the people that don't want you in their private fishing and hunting hole,
they don't care what the law says.
They don't give a flip whether BASS comes or not. They just seen them not come.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at their own personal gain, not the economic impact for the state and doing anything for a big group of people. They're looking at what suits them personally.
Yeah.
This will probably be the last time they'll go to Beaumont until Louisiana gets something done about the water access issue, I think. I think there's other places BASS can go, of course, that other cities will put up the same amount of money to host. I think they just didn't want to change their plans so late in the game. They left the schedule the way it was. Kudos to them for not changing it.
How far in advance do you think they work on that? I mean, like...
next year's schedule is probably already done.
Well, is 2 years schedule done?
No, they don't go that far out.
Okay.
They're usually
I was just wondering, how far in advance you're trying to secure those dollars.
14 to 16 months out.
What does it cost for a town? We've got the BASS going to be here next weekend.
Yes, and boy, I'm glad you said that. We are struggling. We need some help. We need some people that want to come down and help pull off the BASS Open on Red River. I think it's the 14th, 15th, and 16th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Next Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
We need some volunteers bad to come up there and work behind the scenes, help with the bags, help with the fish. The final day, we need some adult drivers because it's a drive-through weigh-in at Bass Pro Shop. Please, if you're interested in coming down about 1:30 in the afternoon and working for about 2.5 or 3 hours and help pull off this event, please give me a call, 465-6453. That's 465 Mike. I really need some more volunteers. So I'm glad you brought that up, Gary.
Okay. Well, with the Central Open going to be here next week, what does that cost? Somebody got to write a check to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Shreveport pays for that, and Shreveport Bossier, I'm sure it's a combination thing, but I don't know what they pay for that. But it's got to be.
And that's just an open. That's not the elite.
Yeah, and there's like 4 opens now. There was used to be 3. Now I think there's 4. I think they added one this year. And, I don't know what that costs, but it's a pretty penny.
Yeah.
They don't bring those in here for nothing.
And at one point, we held the record. I want to say New Orleans wound up beating us.
For the Bassmaster?
For the classic attendance and stuff?
The last place they held it, what was it, Murray?
Murray? Yeah.
They broke our record.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we do turn out for something like that.
No doubt.
And so there's that great diamond in that in that crown.
Where the opens draw that kind of crowd,
but the Red River's not that kind of a fishery anymore.
No, it's not. It's not.
So do they figure that into a place for the Classic?
I don't think so.
I hear rumor that they're looking at coming back with a Classic.
Hey,
yeah, I don't think that figures into their thinking.
Good.
Real quick, ABA Open Series. I just asked Nick, was he going to Rayburn this weekend? Which he said probably, and that means he's probably fishing the same event I am. So I'll write my check out to Nick probably. But ABA Open Series number 3 on Sam Rayburn this weekend. A great circuit. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot of guys missing out, and there's a lot of guys from this area that's fishing this circuit. And $5,000 guaranteed first place prize no matter what. And the thing I like about this circuit, you don't with FLW BFLs, you got to have a guaranteed co-angler. When you sign up, I've got to say Gary McCoy is signing up with me. I have to have somebody else sign up at the same time I do. Otherwise, you ain't getting in.
Wow.
So they make you go get a co-angler. ABA doesn't do that. They may have 100 pros or boaters in this event. We may only have 40 co-anglers.
Oh, wow.
So everybody doesn't have to go out with a co-angler. They'll let you go out by yourself, you know, and I like that. I like the fact that you can actually go out by yourself. Now, you're going to be polygraphed, probably, especially if you're in the top, but still, I like that, the fact that I don't have to go get me a guaranteed co-angler to fish this event. So this makes it easier on the anglers. But anyway, so that's this weekend. It'll be Saturday, and headed over there tomorrow.
Was it this series that you won that regional championship in a couple of years ago?
It's called the Bassmaster Weekend Series. Back then, ABA Bassmaster Weekend. They changed it to the Ram Truck Open Series. Yes, it's the same circuit.
Oh, wow.
So
great. You got a little history there.
Yeah, it's a great circuit. I love fishing it. It's a great, good group of people putting it on.
Well, it's about time for us to head to the house. I think Eccles has got a proctologist appointment, something like that. Isn't that what it was?
I've got to stop and get him some flowers and a bottle of wine.
some new cream.
So he'll take it easy on you.
Yeah, some lotion.
All right. We ready? All right, Jay, let's take this thing home. I just don't understand how our local TV stations were a no-show for the final weigh-in during the two biggest events we've ever seen here, other than the Bassmaster Classic. No one showed up to cover this event, with two local anglers finishing 1 and 2 in the FLW All-American and the Collegiate National Championship, which was won by a North Louisiana school, ULM. No interviews, no video coverage, nothing for two local anglers that by winning this event would change their lives forever. It cannot be overstated the economic impact these bass tournaments have on our local economy. If our local TV stations did a better job of promoting these events, other tournament circuits would come to Shreveport-Bossier as well. For Mike Eccles, Gary McCoy, Jay Wiley, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week here on 1130 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down.